Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. All right, guys. Well, today's guest is somebody that I deeply respect, not just as a leader in automotive, but as a true advocate for people. I'm excited to welcome Brandon Hardison from the incredible team at Ellis Automotive Group. I've had the privilege of working with the Ellis stores for years, and Brandon has always stood out as somebody who believes that when you build people, you build the business. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I have some questions for you, and I want to target a couple of these areas in the dealership that seem to be these problem areas. And I know all the hard work that you put into recruiting people for the Jim Ellis organization. How many stores does Jim Ellis have now?
We have 22 dealerships. We're still the largest automotive group in the Atlanta metro area, family owned, and we're proud to say that we're Christians.
Well, we've got to tackle this challenge that I'm sure all of you have been dealing with, which is a technician shortage. And how do we attract younger talent? How do we develop people into great technicians? How do we build cultures where they want to stay and grow those careers with you?
If I could, Jen, go back to summertime of 20. Jimmy, our second generation leader, came to us during an executive meeting, myself and my counterpart, the director of fixed operations, and said, we need to get some young talent. Find the STEM students out there and let's see if we can get them attracted in. Now, my counterpart, he was comfortable with the technical schools, the Chattahoochee techs, the Gwinnett techs, where they're already teaching those folks. My thing was that, well, let's go after the public schools. There might be some students in there because, as you probably know, and many people listening, we as Americans got rid of vocational education and threw it away. We assumed everybody was going to go to college, which isn't the right thing. So that's where I went. And luckily, we put up enough flares that an organization called Georgia Work-Based Learning. Other states may have something like that, but they teach the alternative students who are not going to a 2 or 4 year institution to do culinary, to do hair, to do automotive. And we hooked up with the Northwest Division, the quadrant that surrounds Atlanta. And we've been working with them for the past year and a half, and they've been giving us a pipeline each year, graduates, 10 to 12 students that show up on time and follow directions.
Well, it's interesting that you've identified an area that maybe most states have some similar type of a trade school network of areas of focus, which we're looking for technicians. I'm guessing that is part of that curriculum.
That is part of the curriculum, but as you know, and some people out there may not, we have our own university and we have our own trainers, and they do some classroom, but then they go out and they're paired with a master tech, and they go over until the master tech thinks that they're ready with enough internal combustion, or some of them even have diesel experience that they picked up at their high schools here with that. And then we send them out to the dealerships with that. So it's like a feeder system, or in sports, a farm system. In baseball, single A, double A, triple A, and then finally you get to the pros. So we have our internal bench going, if you will.
Well, that just adds more value to looking at an organization like yours to come work for. And by the way. It's one of these things that I just had this conversation with a fixed ops director, and how we were both brought into the organization, many, many, many years ago. But it's always sink or swim, figure it out. There's your
Right.
job. And then you get promoted and it's figure it out,
Right.
learn the hard way.
Right.
And I always appreciate organizations that have a bit more of a structured educational program for team members so they can be successful from day one.
Well, you know as well as I do, people have said for the past decade and a half, it's not about CSI. I'll rather have loyalty. Well, our thing is, why can't we have both? Why can't we consistently do the right thing where the CSI scores are good and still have the loyalty because we built the relationship where they're glad to tell their friends, family members, and they come back second, third, fourth generation. That's how we view it.
Yeah. Well, I love the cycle. If it's done right, well, it goes hand in hand. Loyal customers, loyal team members. Tell me something about the technician shortage. Is there something that every dealer seems to be talking about and we can't find enough of these guys, or gals? But from your perspective, what's the biggest reason we're struggling to attract and retain technicians today?
In my humble opinion, and thank you for the question, I said earlier about my counterpart who has the director of fixed op with that. Many of these technical schools are losing their technician trainers. They've been around so long that they're passing away or they just want to retire. And for the salary that they're offering, nobody who has that much skill want to go into a classroom to deal with educating and being a parent. Now, once again, if they were teachers from the beginning, that's something different. But hey, I've been a mechanic / technician / service manager. Why can't you follow my directions? Why can't you show? So that's kind of hard for someone to go into a classroom setting and do that. So that's what we're finding. I don't know what you see in your part of the country, but one of the largest automotive tech colleges in the Atlanta area, they're dropping automotive. They're still keeping the other tech parts, but they can't find enough good trainers. So without the trainers, the students cannot do their thing.
Isn't that surprising though? Because doesn't it feel like you could teach somebody how to be a teacher? I mean, I've worked in dealer education for a long time. All of my skills and abilities have come hand on. And I do think that attributes to my success. It's, I don't like to think about theory from afar. I like to be in the trenches. But I do feel like you can teach people some, right?
Yes, but let's go back to something that still happens today, and you see it, I see it. I interview you, and whatever HR has is background drug screening. Okay, you go to orientation. You come back from orientation. How was orientation, Jen? Go shadow Brandon over there. The interviewees, service manager / sales manager. I hate the word desk manager because you're a manager. Your job, besides what the manufacturer and what the penciling or what the service is about, that's human capital. You hired them. You need to coach them to their success, but many people don't want to coach anymore.
I have to agree with you. I find a lot of times I'm preaching this, and you'll see this through like my podcast episodes, because I'm constantly saying to managers, learn how to train and coach from a modern way. And listen, the only reason why I know a modern way is because I was doing it one way and the times changed. When COVID hit, rocked everything that I used to do, how I used to train, and you had to adapt and pivot. And I still do faster than I ever did in the first 20 years of my career, which I think is challenging for people, and having to modify a training approach if you've even got one. But yeah, I feel you on that.
It's we have to coach the coach, but the person receiving the information needs to have patience. And since they've been so used, especially on the fixed op side, of turning and earning, with the manufacturer allowing so much to do a job, they don't have the patience. And many times, if you're coaching, teaching, even if you have your own kids, you got to have patience. Everybody's not the same. It's up to you to distinguish, how do I touch that person to make them successful? And many of them would rather let them go, change their pay plan. Well, you know how it goes with that. And then we have to start from scratch all over again.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I hate to actually hear that, because then you have to face the facts, and that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's actually how it works in most dealerships I go into. Well, let's think about this. If you were sitting with a dealer and they couldn't find technicians right now, what are maybe the first 2 or 3 changes that you would challenge them to make immediately?
Okay. First thing, leave that brick and mortar, because the money's out in the street. We're part of a community. We should be proud of that. Everybody doesn't know that your shingle says Jen up there. You have to go out and promote Jen. GMs, service managers, general sales, they're afraid to go to the community.
You mean like we need to go to the high schools? We need to start there?
Go to the high schools.
Okay. By the way, my daughter, I do this every year. She's only in 8th grade, but they have a career fair. They have a career day. Okay. And this is what you're talking about. You need to figure out your career days, probably in middle school. And I have to tell you, it was a moment for me to show up and try to influence just on being a podcaster, or, having an AI company, and just share these things with the young Jen, give them an opportunity to see what the possibilities are and to learn what it takes to be successful. I love what it clicked for me. You saw me get excited. But that was just middle school. And I experienced that personally, by showing up to career day to showcase, my businesses and talk to the students. But I like that. That's diverse. That's really digging into the community. But it's not, that was middle school, but I imagine they still have they have moments like this at the high schools. And by the way, these guys are begging for parents, for community to come out there and share. It doesn't matter what your job is. I saw all kinds of things. Are you showing up to stuff like this?
Yes. I was at one this morning. The recruiter couldn't make it. Something happened, a family situation, but I was close to it. Glad I went. That particular school district found the largest church in their community, and they bussed over juniors and seniors so they could watch all the different businesses, vendors, and go around and hear stories, ask questions, see if it's something that they might be able to do. And we were very successful. We picked up a couple of people, 4 technicians.
Get out. Is this high school or college?
High school.
It was high school.
They're graduating in May, but since they were in front of me, I asked a few questions, got their commitment, told them to contact their parent live. Let's do a FaceTime. And I called the service manager that I knew who was looking for some young talent. So now they're interviewing.
Excellent. And these guys would come in as, express, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you show them a career path. Plus, you guys give them continued education, and they can see a bright future ahead. Okay, so that's one angle. What else would you challenge a dealer to do immediately to find techs?
Here's what we're doing, and I'm giving it to everyone that's listening.
Let's go.
This country is celebrating its 250th anniversary just this July, right? There are projects on a federal, state, and county level that are putting businesses and government and students together.
Hmm.
We've already had 2 of these, and we have 6 more because we have the different campuses, the cities that we're in. So different schools are going to different campuses. But we're teaching them automotive understanding, because based on a report that I saw from NADA, most children from 18 to 24 are told you can't get anything from an OEM. They're too expensive. Go to an independent. So what we do is have them come in, we feed them, but someone from sales, I try to get a general sales manager to set it up, and then have a sales professional about their age talk about what their day is like, talk about some of the challenges they may face.
Mm-hmm.
Then the service manager comes in and says, well, I don't care where you buy your vehicle. Here's 5 things that you're going to need to know because you're going to run into it. I don't care if you get it off of Facebook, being that vehicle. And then the last one, and most important, is F&I. So yes, you've been told to go to that independent. Here's what we're offering as an OEM for a first-time buyer at 6.9. Here's what they're doing at 22.8%. Let's do the math. So the students, as they spend that hour, 90 minutes with us, here's what they walk away with. And we've done it twice in 2 different areas. But the student said, I learned that in my 20s, my new currency is my credit score.
Correct.
My credit score is what I need. And that's what we're trying to do, educate some of these babies, because whether we like it or not, when May comes, they're in the workforce. So either we're going to have educated consumers who are going to come into an OEM upside down, and there's not that much we can do for them, or we can get them to see that an OEM is not their enemy. OEM is your best friend. So that's a freebie that I gave to everybody.
Okay, so that's a great angle. You'd have to dig in and see where these organizations exist that would give you the opportunity to put a gathering together like that. Is that right?
Well, because we are part of the Georgia Work-Based Learning, all I did was present it to the president. The president sent it out to all of the regional heads. Inside a day, 24 hours, they said, we're on board. And after the first email, we had 10 high schools that said, yes, we'll be glad to bring 20 seniors to your nearest dealership.
Wow.
They bus them in. Like I said, we feed them. They get educated.
Wow.
So once again, our hierarchy, the Ellises, as you know, they look at it that, okay, well, maybe we can get some first-time buyers. And I'm saying, well, I'm trying to go deeper than that. I'm trying to get some people who see the value. You got it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's great. There's a lot to unpack on that initiative. There's at least 5 things I can think of right away that were not those 2. But it's
you give me one.
It's supporting. Well, I like that you're teaching young Jen the things that it takes to buy a car, the things that it takes to buy a home, the 2 staples that create our existence. We need a car to get to work or to school or whatever it may be. But, those are all the lessons we've all learned the hard way. They did not teach us these things in school. So for me, it's a great community outreach. At the same time, there's so many different fundraisers and things that you're doing that you could enlist these guys to be a part of, like your holiday fundraising, Toys for Tots, things like this. I mean, I would love to get some of the high schoolers involved in fundraising and helping the stores and helping community. And again, so many things came to mind, but I really enjoy hearing what you're doing. I think it's next level. And I almost kind of find like, Jim Ellis is lucky. They got you to steerhead. But if I'm a single point dealer or I have 3 dealership points, who's doing this, Brandon? Who's doing this?
No one. To be honest,
is this a new job?
It's got to come from the heart.
Yeah.
No matter if you don't feel it, the
Well, people don't
youngsters
see
can
like an
tell.
immediate return on investment. And that's always our challenge because we're so money driven.
Correct, you got it. But if I can share this right quick, because of what our second generation leader before he passed wanted the technicians,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you that on the way back from this career fair that I was at, I
Mm-hmm.
got a phone call from a 19-year-older. When we came to his school looking for technicians, he said, I don't want to be a technician. I want to be a salesperson.
Really?
And he stayed on me, he graduated in December,
Mm-hmm.
but all January, he stayed on me last
Mm-hmm.
January. I trained him. He didn't get interviewed by our Cadillac. He got hired by our Hyundai. He
Mm-hmm.
just completed 1 year. 8 of the 12 months, he was salesman of the month.
Get out. This is so
He
exciting.
averaged 25 units a month. Moved out of his parents' home, lives in a nice area, Buckhead,
Mhm.
you know the area,
Oh, yeah.
drives a nice car, is engaged now. He
Mm.
sees a future, and he's just a baby. He still doesn't know how much he brings to the table here with that. So
This is
we're gonna do this with salespeople, not
this is
just
a
technician, with sales.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Many reasons. I mean, I got in this business at 18. If I'd have just had somebody like you taking me under their wing, sticking with me, first showing me, introducing me to the opportunity, I was in survival mode. And even if you are in survival mode, it would be nice to know what you could get into through your school and through advocates like you who are willing to steerhead getting them in front of the right people and providing them the right tools to make it in this world. But I have to tell you that age is so you can influence that age. You really can take somebody under your wing and show them and groom them. How many people have been in my classes that have never I had one guy today, his name was Caleb. This is a Paradise Chevrolet. This kid, I called on him to do a role play. He's only been to a few of my classes. He's never been in the car business. I think this kid's 19.
Right.
This guy did better than every veteran salesperson who I have been tugging at to get the process down for 3 months. This guy just killed it. And he made me so proud. But it's a reminder of what you just said, that, that age range right there, if we can get in front of them and they have interest and they raise their hand and we take them under the wing and then we show them the way, we put them in front of the right people, we give them the tools. And it's not just about technicians, it's every role in the deal. We need to introduce the dealership to the young gen. How else will they know that there's a career opportunity here unless people like you get in there? But I got to tell you, I see the problem.
Jen, you know as well as I do, we can talk to parents and guardians, and this will be the first thing. I never could see my child in an automotive dealership because of all of the decade layers of negative.
Yeah.
But there's some good guys out here. We care about people. We care about the community. And I look at it like a sports coach. The bench is thin. People are retiring who understand the game. And I don't want the recycles. Give me the babies that we can groom.
Yeah.
Put the right things in there.
Yeah, everyone listening can relate to that. We've always said, we love a green pea because we can shape them. And it's just, there's so much opportunity, but you have to go out. And that's the hard part, is to find who's going to be in charge of this initiative. Who's going to go out? I mean, is this a new role? I think it's critical, quite frankly, because a lot of times we end up with team members who are in a rough patch in their career, a rough patch in life. And, we're saving lives. But if we looked at this a little bit differently and recruited before they enter the workforce, what would that change in the quality of person and mindset that we're bringing in? Listen, I was under survival mode. So I'm going to tell you, I would have done anything and said anything to any customer to get him to buy because I needed the money. That's the difference. Can
I give you one more? Because I know we're running short on time.
Sure.
A single parent, sales professional, gone through a rocky time, said that we have friends at that high school that's 2 blocks away. Why don't you get with the resource officer, the the police that guard the school, have them talk about all the horrors of texting and driving, and you're talking about your dealership.
Mhm.
Those seniors and juniors out in the audience, guess what they're doing? They're texting their parents saying, Jim Ellis is giving, Jim Ellis is, and
Ooh,
would you believe
little brand
this?
boost.
This is what she did last week. She picked up 10 sales this week just because she had enough faith to
Mm.
get away from the dealership and
Mhm.
put herself in a spot where first-time buyers are going to be, whether they buy from us or on Facebook, they're going to buy a vehicle.
This makes sense. This is a heavy hitter approach. In fact, you're giving me this flashback from Ali Reda. He was formerly the number one car salesman in the world. Came on this podcast, and he said that was an attribute to his success. Is that he does a lot of work in the high schools himself. In fact, he has a personal banner in the basketball court, promoting his services, and it helped him stay connected to the community. And it's something that he still continues to do. You just reminded me of the number one car salesman in the world and what they do to build their business. Excellent.
I think it's an easy formula, but like you said, many people think that people have to come to them. And my thing is, no, we're fortunate to be in a community. So the money's all around us. Just leave the dealership, knock on the door and say, here we are. How can we support you and your efforts? We want the community to do well. And you'll be amazed at what you'll get back.
Yeah. Well, what gives you so much confidence that our industry can solve a technician shortage, a dealership team member shortage in any department, really, and continue building such strong service and sales departments?
I would say I would have to go back to my beginnings. My father owned a small body shop. They didn't call them collision centers in those days. And so I learned how to take off bumpers, learned how to wet sand and get the vehicle prepared. But when the product was finished, going back to the dealership, you could see all these lovely vehicles. It was like going into Toys R Us. And that world fascinated me as I hung around it more. So that's why I know it does work, because when I first started selling, that's what my manager and GM allowed me to do, go out into the community. And that's why I know it works, because there's more money out there than coming into the dealership. Let me go to the high school. Let me go to the church. Let me go to the country club. That's where the people are.
Yeah. Yeah. It just takes effort. And you've certainly opened the door for us, because sometimes people just don't know they can do these things.
Yeah.
And you've literally, the thing I always appreciate you, Brandon, is your perspective, because it comes from experience, but it also comes from that genuine belief in developing people. You've just got so many great ideas, and it's not just like a hiring problem when we have shortages of people and team members. It's a leadership opportunity, isn't it?
You hit it on the head. And as long as I have breath and I'm still in this industry and somebody sees value in what I do, I'm going to be glad to do it, because it's a great industry to be in. It's done tremendously well for me and my family.
Yeah. Well, you're inspiring, and I appreciate you sharing your insights and helping us all just think a little bit bigger about how we build the future of our dealerships.
That's it. But if they can just look up in their own state, we in Georgia call it work-based learning. I know your state has something like that. They may call it different, but there are students out there who would love to sell in our world, be a technician in our world, be a business development representative on our, they're out there. We just need to go and tell them that we have an opportunity for them.
Yeah, and put the event together, feed the people, let them bring them to you. That's what you did. And now you've got not just one high school, but you've got tens coming in, and it'll only get bigger with your commitment. Well, thank you. Once again, the Brandon Hardison, everybody.
I thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com. See ya!